I've got an anonymous texter here, Dr. Dave, who asks, maybe he's anonymous because he's worried about something. He says, can you ask your guest who it was who ordered NORAD to stand down on September the 11th? Over to you, Dr. David.
Yeah, no one ordered NORAD to stand down. It had to be ordered to stand up. The military in the United States is constitutionally controlled and under the authority of the civilian government. Our military is responsible for matters that occur outside the country or that might intrude into the interior, not for matters inside the country. That's a civil responsibility. So the Federal Aviation Administration was and still is responsible for the initial response, and if they cannot deal with it themselves, they seek military assistance under legal authority that Congress has provided. FAA did not seek legal assistance until after the events were over. They were such a surprise. So NORAD was stood up based on requests from the federal authorities and the authority of the president. It never stood down.
And wasn't there an exercise on at the time by...
Yes, it was quite a coincidence that week there were exercises, practices of how one would react to certain circumstances. The military exercises all of the time. And that week was a major exercise that involved actually flying aircraft as though they were trying to intercept intruders. So all of the staff that normally would be in office buildings doing administrative jobs had been mobilized for the exercise into their crisis positions. So it was a very smooth transition from being mobilized for an exercise into responding seamlessly to an emergency.
Just a piece of luck, if you will. My gosh.
Because at 9:30 this morning, we were actually running an exercise for over a company of 1,000 people in London, based on simultaneous bombs going off precisely at the railway stations that happened this morning. So I still have the hairs on the back of my legs standing upright.
To get this quite straight, you were running an exercise to see how you would cope with this, and it happened while you were running the exercise?
Precisely. Today we were running an exercise for a company, bearing in mind I'm now in the private sector, and we sat everybody down in the city, 1,000 people involved in the whole organisation, but the crisis team. And the most peculiar thing was we based our scenario on the simultaneous attacks on the Underground and mainline station. So we had to suddenly switch an exercise from fictional to real. And one of the first things is, get that bureau number. When you have a list of people missing, tell them. And it took a long time.
Just to get this right, you were actually working today on an exercise that envisioned virtually this scenario?
Almost precisely.
You were actually working today on an exercise that envisioned virtually this scenario?
Almost precisely.
To get this quite straight, you were running an exercise to see how you would cope with this, and it happened while you were running the exercise?
Precisely.
Just a piece of luck, if you will.